Fighters Only Television. We're here in Stockholm, Sweden, a couple of days out from UFC on Field TV 9, where Ryan Couture will be making his UFC debut. Ryan, you enjoying yourself in Sweden so far?
Yeah, I'm having a great time. It's been a real fun week.
The beta regular thing, or was this for the sort of Swedish -2 weather we're experiencing right now?
It's I just in general hate to shave, so every so often I decide not to for a while, and just happened to time it for fight time.
It's working out quite nicely. It's freezing outside.
Yeah, it's keeping me nice and warm.
So you're in Sweden for a fight. You're making your UFC debut. Lots of things to ask you, but I guess a lot of people probably ask you the same questions. Have a guess one or two of the questions I might put to you right now.
I'm sure we'll talk about the old man, about what I think of the matchup with Ross, the feud with Dana, all that stuff, who's in the corner. On the upside, I've got a lot of practice, so I should be good at answering those questions by now.
You've gone about 5 for 5. I just leave you holding that and come back in like 5 minutes. Start with your dad, obviously, kind of a strange situation. You know, he's got the little beef thing going on there, and you're making your debut, but it doesn't really seem to be affecting you anyway, unless you're just very good at the politics game. I don't know.
I mean, don't really have a choice but to just roll with it. I mean, him and Dana had a falling out, and sometimes that's how it goes. And you know, it sucks not to have him in my corner. I'm not happy about it, but it's not make or break. I've still got a great team of coaches. Frank Trigg stepped up and is kind of filling in that spot, and he and I work really well together, so I'm excited. I think I've got everything I need to win the fight.
Well, apparently there was something out the other day, that whole situation, that if he actually was able to be in your corner, that it's up to the commission, it's not up to the UFC itself or something.
Well, yeah, if I wanted to pick a fight, I could go over their head and go to the commission and list him as a corner, and they probably couldn't stop him short of just having security remove him from the building on fight night. But I don't want to get on those terms and, you know, give them a reason to be mad at me too. Right now, that dispute's between Dad and Dana, and that's how it should stay. It's got nothing to do with me. And, you know, I'll go along with whatever the rules are as stated to me, and you know, hopefully someday they'll change their mind. If they don't, then so be it.
You're going into the deep end, Ross Pearson. You know, some people thought that match in itself was kind of a little backhanded. You know, rankings-wise, it probably doesn't make sense given the run sort of Ross is on. You're coming in as a UFC debutant, very, very hard opponent. What was your thought when that came through?
I think I was in the deep end my last fight. I just fought KJ Noons, and I wasn't expecting anything easy. I mean, not that there are any easy fights in the UFC, but I figured they'd throw me someone tough, and you know, I'd rather fight someone who's established and has a name. It's really no way for me to lose as long as I go out and perform and put up a good fight, win or lose. I come out ahead. So, you know, I'm excited. I like Ross a lot. I'm a fan of his, and if he was fighting anybody else, I'd be cheering for him. But you know, I got to go out there and do my job and try and take him out.
I read something where Ross said you're not on his level. I think was the phrase he used. What did you think when you read that?
Everybody's really kind of dialed in on that. I read it in context, and it doesn't sound as bad. He was just saying I don't have the same experience that he has. I haven't been in with the same caliber of guys as consistently, and he's right about that. You know, I'm still new to this. I'm still learning, and you know, so in that regard, in a way, I'm not. But I'm going to go out on Saturday and prove that I'm right there and that I belong and that I deserve to be in there with him.
Carrying this surname that you carry in the MMA game, do you think, like, has it opened doors or has it created undue pressure or a mixture of both over the years?
It's opened a lot of doors. It's really the only reason I'm where I am, the only reason we're here talking about this fight right now. But there's a little bit of a flip side of that with the added expectation and you know, the fact that we're talking about it all the time, and people expect a lot of things out of me that they wouldn't even think to expect out of someone else with 7 pro fights. So it's a double-sided thing, but the pros far outweigh the cons. So I'm happy with it. I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, the first time I met you was UFC 105, Manchester, England. Your dad was fighting Brandon Vera, and you were in his corner.
Yep.
So you walked out with him. So this isn't actually the first time you're going to be walking out into a UFC arena.
Correct. Yeah, I got to corner him that was the first time I cornered him, and I got to corner him against Coleman and Machida as well. So I think that experience of you know, walking the tunnel and going out in front of the huge crowd and all of the, you know, the craziness that comes along with the UFC event, having been there, even though the spotlight wasn't directly on me, I think is really going to help alleviate a lot of those sort of first-time octagon jitters that you always hear about.
Plus, you know, you've been through the whole process of a UFC fight taking place overseas, like in Manchester. So has that been a useful experience for you in adjusting for your own fight now?
That actually had me nervous leading into this one because I did such a terrible job at dealing with the jet lag. In Manchester, I was up at all hours. I'd completely screwed the pooch on that one, and you know, this time I was really conscious of doing the right things when we got here on Tuesday, and I feel like I've been right on schedule and haven't missed a beat.
Are you sleeping and eating okay?
Yeah, sleeping and eating great.
Good stuff. Has your dad been useful in terms of advice, like dealing with media, dealing with the pre-fight build-up, all this kind of a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a great perspective on that, having done it for so many years, and he just set a great example. So I saw how he handled himself, and I try to emulate that as best I can. And I'm fortunate that because of the last name, I started getting interview requests early in my amateur career from smaller outlets where it didn't, you know, nobody's really going to see it, so it doesn't matter. So I've had a lot of practice runs to get to this point, and I feel a lot more comfortable now doing it than I ever did when I was first starting.
And when do you think it's the last time you're going to speak to him now before the fight? You get like a phone call or a text message you're expecting like an hour before or something?
I'll probably try and get in touch with him either tomorrow night or Saturday afternoon before we head to the venue. I doubt that I'll have a Wi-Fi connection in the locker room, so that's what I'll need to try and get him on Skype. So hopefully either tomorrow or Saturday afternoon I'll get to talk to him.
Sure. And finally, if you'd be bold enough to make any kind of a prediction, expectation of the fight?
I'm expecting an exciting fight. I know Ross is going to come forward and try and take my head off, and I got to be smart and avoid his power and find my spot to take him down and choke him out.
Good stuff. Ryan, thanks for the time and good luck on Saturday.